Hey guys, welcome to my legal classes. This is Ganesh Pujari, and in the series of Indian Evidence Act, we were focusing on chapter 10, which is all about examination of witness. And in this series, we have already covered the first two sections, that is 135 and 136 in my previous video. Here in this third video, we are going to focus on two very important sections, that is section 137 and 138, which is all about types of examination and order of examination. These are two very important sections which I am going to explain with the help of some graphical representation, charts, the Bare Act provisions, and two very important case laws. And I will also give one bonus presentation in my next video where I will explain the different rules, legalities, objectives of different types of examination. That is for next video, but for now let's focus on section 137 and 138. Let us start the discussion with the help of a little graphical representation. Here I am not speaking about any sections. Here you will understand what are the different types of examination. That's all for this slide. Now imagine Mr. X is the witness called by party A. Now X comes and stands in the witness box. He is called by party A. Now how exactly the examination starts? First, party A to start the examination, and that is called examination in chief. Now X is called by party A and he has to start the examination, and such is called as examination in chief. Now once examination in chief is completed, if required, party B will start the examination, and that is called as cross-examination. So that is what we need to understand. Now A has called, and when A examining Mr. X, that is called examination in chief, and the other party, opposite party, when they examine, the same is known as cross-examination. And once after cross-examination is over, if party A again wants to do examination, that is called re-examination. And after such re-examination, if the opposite party, that is party B, if that want to do examination again, it is called as cross-examination. So we have examination in chief, which is done by the party which has called the witness. Then we have cross-examination, which is done by the opposite party if required. Then we have re-examination by the party which has called the witness if required. And then lastly we have cross-examination by the opposite party if required. That is all we need to understand. Now let's get into the section. Coming to section 137, the title of the section is examination in chief, but I have mentioned here as types of examination because there in the section there are three types of examination are given, and I will quickly read through section 137. First, it speaks about examination in chief. The examination of a witness by the party who calls him shall be called his examination in chief. Then we have cross-examination. The examination of a witness by the adverse party shall be called his cross-examination. And then we have re-examination. The examination of a witness subsequent to the cross-examination by the party who called him shall be called his re-examination. As always, I have put it in very simple way in my chart. First, what do we have? Examination in chief. When a witness is called and examined by the same party which has called it is known as examination in chief. In our example, party A has called Mr. X as a witness, and when party A examines such witness, that is known as examination in chief. Then comes cross-examination. When a witness is called by the adverse party or the opposite party, that is called as cross-examination. Remember, first examination in chief happens, and after that the cross-examination happens. For that I will also give case laws. And thirdly, if a witness after completing her examination in chief and cross-examination, if such witness is again called for examination by the party who has called him or her, that is known as re-examination. I told Mr. X has been invited by party A. When party A does examination of such witness or Mr. X, that is known as examination in chief. Once examination in chief is completed, then comes the cross examination, and once after the cross examination is completed, then comes re-examination. Here the first one, that is examination in chief, is must, but the cross examination and re-examination and further cross examination etc. will be optional. If required, that will happen. Now that is what we are going to understand section 138 also. I think I have almost completed section 138. Let's quickly go through the Bare Act provision for section 138 and my chart in my next slide. Basically, under section 137, we understood there are three types of examination, that is examination in chief, cross examination and re-examination. I am telling them repeatedly because by the end of this presentation, it should be by hearted by you also. Anytime, anywhere, if anyone asks this question, you should be able to tell, because I have told it many times and I am going to repeat again and again. Now coming to section 138, it discusses about order of examination. How exactly the examination should happen, which is what discussed under section 138, and I will quickly read out the Bare Act provision. It says, order of examinations. Witnesses shall be first examined in chief, then if the adverse party so desires, cross-examined, then if the party calling him so desired, re-examined. The provision continues, the examination and cross-examination must relate to relevant facts, but the cross-examination need not to be confined to the facts to which the witnesses testified on his examination in chief. It looks little confusing. Nothing to worry, I will explain when I explain my chart. The last part, that is direction of re-examination, says the re-examination shall be directed to the explanation of matters referred to in cross-examination, and if new matter is by permission of the court introduced in re-examination, the adverse party may further cross-examine upon that matter. Now that is also very clearly explained in my chart. Nothing to worry, let's get into my chart. In section 138, two major aspects are discussed. First, it explains what is the order of examination. Then it also explains what can be examined by each order. Now to understand order of examination, we have examination in chief, then we have cross examination, then we have re-examination, finally we have cross examination. Please observe that I have mentioned examination in chief shall be, and the remaining are if. That means if required they are done, otherwise they are not done. Now to understand one by one what can be examined by each order, first comes examination in chief, where the relevant facts can be examined. When it comes to cross examination, the same relevant facts which are being examined during examination in chief can be cross examined, and if there are any other relevant fact which are not examined during examination in chief, that can also be cross examined. Remember, it needs to be relevant fact, but it is not examined during examination in chief. In that case, in cross examination, those relevant facts can also be examined. That is a very, very important aspect you need to remember. Then comes re-examination. Once the cross examination is over, whatever cross examination new points came in, on that re-examination can be done, and if there are any new matter, if the first party brings or wants to bring, that needs to take the permission of the court before doing that, and with the permission of the court it can bring new matter also, but remember that needs to be relevant fact again. Finally, cross examination. That means once the re-examination is over, if new matter has come, definitely party B will get a chance to cross examine. That is what we need to understand. That's all about section 138. The beauty of section 137 and 138 is they are very, very easy. But remember, though they are academically very, very easy, when you are going to practice as an advocate, These are the major skills that you need to acquire. The one who does examination good, he succeeds as an advocate or a legal practitioner. The skill of examination in chief, the skill of cross examination, the skill of further re-examination, cross examination, etc. will decide the fate of an advocate or a legal practitioner. That way, when you acquire the skill of examining a witness, that plays a very important role. With that, I am getting into two important case laws. I have two case laws here, and the first case law is coming from Karnataka High Court, that is Sharadamma versus Kenchamma. I am reading out the para 9 of this particular judgment, which is very easy, and it makes all clear when it comes to the order of examination. It says the question of cross examination arises only when a witness has tendered evidence in chief examination. You can cross examine only those witnesses who have already completed chief examination. It continues, under section 138 of the Indian Evidence Act, cross examination follows chief examination. Remember, that is a sequence. First chief examination and then comes cross examination. It continues, but not without chief examination. So you cannot do cross examination without chief examination. The further statement says, if there is no chief examination, there is no cross examination. It is only a witness who is examined in chief who can be cross examined. Therefore, a prayer for cross examination of the plaintiff, even when the plaintiff has not been examined in chief, is ridiculous and not provided for under section 138 of Evidence Act. It makes crystal clear. Only the one who has completed chief examination can be cross examined, and examination in chief comes first, and only after completing that there can be cross examination. That is what made very clear in the case law of Sharadamma versus Kenchamma. While the first case law is focusing on the order of examination, the second case law says that just following examination in chief is not sufficient. You need to give opportunity for the adverse party for cross examination and if required further re-examination. That means you have to follow the order of these examinations as discussed under the section 138 of Indian Evidence Act, which is held in Banwari Lal versus State. It is not sufficient to complete examination in chief. Once after examination in chief is completed, if the adverse party want to do examination, there should be an opportunity provided for cross examination, and further if the first party want to do re-examination, that opportunity shall also be provided, which is what held in Banwari Lal versus State. Before I hand over the presentation to Nishan, I would like to repeat that I am going to make one more presentation where I am going to discuss the rules, legalities, objectives of different types of examination. That is a very important aspect we all need to know, and with that I am handing over to Nishan.
Always remember, opportunity never knocks twice on the same door. So be ready for your opportunity. With that, I'm concluding this session. Please subscribe our channel. Please like, share and comment our videos.